as soon as I get in trouble,
Couldn't find her.
I couldn't find her. So that's why when you see me now, if it ain't family, I don't got no friend. All my friends, I got one best friend. He lives in Maryland, and he got a family of his own. He's doing quite well too, you know. But when I came down, all my old friends, it wasn't my friends. I ain't even, you know, if I see him, hey, when you come home, I've been home like 5 years. You been home? Yeah. I'm not doing the same things that I used to do. You know, your friends get you in trouble also.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go around the corner right quick. Go around that corner, and you never know what you got yourself out into. He probably took you around the corner to get shot or to steal something and saying that it's his, and somebody called the police, boom, they will charge for you. Once you get a charge, once you get a felony, people look at you different. I'm work-wise, trying to get a job, they look at you different. You know, and it has been hard for me to get a job, but I don't wallow in that pity and try to be like, oh, the system got me down. No, I made my own choice. So I got to walk. I got to walk with those choices. I got to make a way. As long as I got God next to me, hey, you know, I can care what anybody else think. But I'm, you know, as long as He give me strength and courage, you know what I'm saying, and the family support, because that's another thing that we also need. We need support, family support. You gonna always need somebody. Everybody, I don't need nobody. Anybody tell you that, you need to wipe that out their mind. God designed this earth like that. He didn't just make man. He made man and woman. So you're gonna always need somebody. The man is the woman was the man helps mate. So you're gonna always need some help. You cannot function in this world by yourself. I guarantee you won't make it. And I thank y'all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Which was not the best and the wise path to take. And he also talked about children not listening, and how at the age of 16, he was just, and he used the word hard-headed. Does anybody know the definition of the word hard-headed? We got a response right here. Okay, you want to answer that? What does it mean to be hard-headed?
It means that you don't listen to what you're supposed to, and when people try to tell you the right thing, you just don't listen to them.
Wow. That's a very excellent definition. So, that means that the young people need to listen to adults, correct? And any and everything that is good. Okay. Now, I want you, if you want to, and anyone can ask a question. You heard what he said and what he experienced, okay? Dr. Mayfield.
Yes, I have a comment. Did any of you notice that Mr. Ken Troy broke Dr. Jeffrey Williams' #1 commandment to youth? It is, don't watch who you hang around with. Now, he spent 14 years away from home, came back, was doing pretty good, and then he started stopping watching who he was hanging around with, and almost got killed. But now he watched who he hangs around with. So that's very, very important, who you hang around with.
That's
very
right.
important.
That's right. And that was an excellent point to bring out, because I think he said it this way: he got missing for 14 years. Were you all thinking about possibly where he could have been? Well, you probably already knew, but he got missing for 14 years. What was your response? You have your hands up.
I actually have a question.
Okay. What is your question?
My question is, if you're younger and you do something bad with your friends, what's like the consequence that you could get for doing it?
Okay, if you're younger and you do something really bad, And she said, what are the consequences when you're not listening?
If you with your friends and they do something bad, 9 times out of 10, you're young, they gonna talk to your parents. The only way that you actually, that I believe, you probably can ask the doctor here, if you do something real bad as far as like kill another friend, stab another friend, and you're young, you're gonna be away from your parents. You're gonna be away from your family. There's nothing mommy and daddy can do for you. And that's why I also been trying to tell the young male that's in my household, if you know, I want him to be successful. I don't want him to be, you know, like I were at the age he is now. You know, I try to like teach him and try to tell him that, you know, you're gonna have to listen to somebody. You got to get a grip on that. You may not like it, but you're gonna have to listen to somebody. You'd rather listen to somebody out here than listen to somebody behind that wall. I mean, because when you get behind that wall, I'm telling you, there's nothing mommy and daddy can do for you. Nothing.
Okay, and I want you to stand there for just a moment, but I do want to include Dr. Williams in answering this question for her, because we know there's something called group homes, and, you know, we have what's called teen court and all those kinds of things. Could you answer that?
There's also something called juvenile detention,
Okay.
which is kiddie jail.
Yes.
And that's what could happen if you're with friends. For example, if you go with a friend, you go into the store, and they decide to steal something. Well, when they catch that friend, they're going to catch you too. They're going to say that you did it because you knew what they were going to do, and you were with them. The law says if you're with someone who commits a crime, you're just as guilty as they are, whether you actually did it or not. So, again, be careful who you hang around with, because that person can so easily get you into trouble. Most of the trouble, almost all the trouble I've had in my life has come about because I was hanging with the wrong people. And I had to make a decision that I didn't need those people in my life anymore.
That's right.
Because they were not good for my future.
That's right.
So yes, there is our juvenile detention facilities in the county that there's one right downtown, full of young people. I was in court a couple weeks ago. I saw them bring in a bunch of young people in handcuffs and shackles. And these were young people under the age of 18 who had done something. And they had to go in front of a judge and explain why they did what they did, and some of them had bad attitudes, and the judge said, I can see you have not learned from your mistake. I'm sending you right back to the juvenile detention facility. There's no way to start your life because, as Brother Troy said, once you get that on your record, it's hard to get it off. It's hard to make it in life, especially when you apply for a job and on that first page of that application, there's a question that says, have you ever been convicted of a felony? A felony is a crime where they send you to jail for at least a year. So if you're asked that question, most employers, most people who want to hire people, once they see that question checked, yes, they don't even look at your application any further. They just rule you out right away and go on to the next person.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So therefore, at your age and ages of the actually infants, parents need to begin to identify gifts and talents and abilities of young people and begin there. And what I want to say to the youth, while you're in school, if you see one of your classmates being very disrespectful, make sure, number one, that you do not follow the pattern, okay? You will already know that that is not a boy or girl that you want to follow or that you want to be with. Treat the person nice, but remove yourself as far as you possibly can from the seat. Even if you have to ask your teacher and say to your teacher, I don't want to get in trouble. Because sometimes, you know, you can become judged based upon the person you're with. So you have to be extremely careful. Thank you so very much. You answered the question and you had an excellent presentation. We have one more question for you, or statement.
I have a question. Can you stand up tonight?
Okay.
My granddaughter, I got a call from the teachers on Friday night stating that she's hanging out with a group that she don't need to be hanging out with, which I always talk to her. And I asked her what was the problem, you know, who are these people are you hanging out with that you're getting in trouble with, you need to deport yourself from them. So right now she is going through that in school. And then the other day she had gotten into a fight on the bus due to someone, you know, hitting her, and she just hit her back, and I let her know that it's not right to fight, you know, let the bus driver know whatever else is going on or whatever, but she's going through that at this time.
Okay, you heard the question. Could you please respond?
Well, again, I think this is a good example of, you know, following behind the wrong person. When they do something, we don't have to do what they did, because oftentimes they may get away with it and we get caught. And unfortunately, when authorities are looking at the situation, they don't want to hear about what somebody else did. All they know is what you did. And it seems to be unfair, but that's the way that it is. We don't have to respond to people the same way they approach us. So what I mean by that is that if someone says something to you, you don't have to say anything back to them. You have an opportunity, you have a choice to make, whether you're going to respond to them or whether or not you're just going to ignore them and go on about your business. Because they want you to respond. They want to do something to get you to act out, to get you into trouble. And there's some folks that specialize in getting other people into trouble. They enjoy it for whatever reason. And you are the one that pays the price for it. You face the consequences for the actions that you take. So you really have to make a decision that you're not going to be like that, you're not going to do that, and you're just going to ignore people. Because as long as we live, there are going to be people here who irritate us, who make us mad, who try to get us into trouble. And the only way we can not fall into that is by making a decision that we are not going to give them the satisfaction of responding the way they want us to.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Great answer. Do you have another comment? Okay, close it.
And I also want to point out, like today's, like nowadays, technology is evolving. I know, like the kids, they very like savvy with it. And, like they be born tomorrow and they get on the laptop. It seems like they know what to do. As parents, that's like lacking the savvy of technology. Go behind your parent. Go behind your kids' devices. As you can see, a young man and a young woman in Fayetteville went to Jack Britt, a high school star for quarterback. Almost messed up his whole life off of a picture that he took of himself, and his girlfriend did the same thing. Almost messed up their whole life. So, parents, pay attention to your kids' devices. I know I do.
Okay, that's very important. Lauren, you have another question or comment?
I have a comment. I just want to address a few people in here. I have 4 kids in here. We're 4, 5, 6 of them. But I have 4 children that I birthed in here. And I just want to let them know, every time y'all ask, you know, that I love you, from the bottom of my heart. I love you with everything, every being in me. Because when I was their age, I didn't have no guidance. I didn't have no mama. I didn't have no daddy. I did what I wanted to do, ribbon and run the road. I wanted in school. I wanted on the right path. So they wonder why, and I stay on school, church. You know, they say I'm mean because I demand certain stuff in my household. I demand certain things.
Children. You know, children need to hear that, don't they? I love you. I love you. How many children have not heard from mommies and daddies or loved ones that I love you? Other than that, everything is negative, and that you're no good and you can't do this or you cannot do that. But children, understand that the love, number one, of Jesus Christ is the most important love. But it is something that you will have to learn, even through your parents as well. And then you turn around and say, I love you too, mama, and I love you too, daddy, because they need love too. Amen. And it goes both ways. Well, thank you so much. This really brings us down to the end of our presentations and our question and answering sessions. Have you enjoyed this today? Yeah. Let me tell you, each one of you were awesome. You really were. Even as you were interacting with